And we are back on The Rodriguez Show, and we have our special guest in studio returning, Adam Metal. How's it going, man?
Hey. How's it going? It's been
a while.
It's been a couple years. We did the FaceTime, but
yeah,
we almost had to reschedule again.
Almost because the storm. There was a crazy storm happening earlier in the week. If you're listening on Friday, you know how it was on Tuesday. It was pouring. And yeah, man, well, thank you for doing the 2 FaceTime interviews. You were one of our first guests during the pandemic at the beginning, and then now towards the end, or not even towards the end, towards another more recent time, you know. And you're back with a new collection of songs. Where Were You When I Was Trying to Function? The EP, it's out now. It's everywhere. And we mentioned Remyth, a Postmodern Ritual, which is the collection of poems. That one's already out. You can buy it. And you can follow Adam on Instagram at adam.etal. And yeah, man, so many things. And let's talk about how you've been since the last time we talked. How was the launch party?
The launch party was awesome, man. It was at the Riverside Art Museum. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I had a virtual one too. I don't know. Yeah. I forget if that happened before or after, but we did.
Both of them were at before. Yes.
We did a virtual one with myself and the national winners in Canada. Mm-hmm. So we did this like a Zoom, and that was dope. I had my some of my thesis advisors, because this was my grad school thesis.
Yeah.
And so I invited them to do some poetry. So they came, and I read probably like half of this, and then we had the face-to-face. My wife's band played. A poet,
Mellow Hearts.
Mellow Hearts played, and a poet by the name of Micah Tasaka. They did some poetry. It was lovely. It was like a rooftop on top of the art museum. We had some vegan treats.
Nice.
So that was big for me and Leslie, because every time we go to things, or like we talk about like if we're at work and there's meetings and stuff, and they always have like, oh yeah, we have like a lunch and stuff, but it's always like non-vegan. Mm-hmm. So when we were like plotting it, we were like, oh, we have to have some.
There's got to be vegan options.
There's got to be some vegan options. So yeah, it was very special. Like my parents came. Mm. There's a poem in this that's very intense about like my family life growing up, and so I didn't read that one, but just to have them there and to like read some of that stuff in front of them, it like felt full circle, and like it felt healing. Yeah, this took a lot of emotional weight to create, so that felt really nice.
Well, that was good. It's good that you were. It sounded like it's like another step in that growth process, like you said. It's just acceptance. That's really cool, man. That they were there to do that.
Yeah.
So this was your big year as Adam Metal. It was a name change. We talked a little bit about it last time, but you can give us a little recap on why Fame Kills to Adam Metal.
Yeah. So Fame Kills. I mean, I had a lovely time making music as Fame Kills, but I felt just. Like you said, like the growth thing. I felt like I outgrew the moniker and some of the themes that moniker represented. And I felt like it was just kind of weighing me down emotionally, psychically, and then just moving forward, wanting to stop like compartmentalizing all the different me's. I don't know how you all are with your day-to-days of like, this is me, the husband, this is me, the whatever you do in your job, this is me, the creative, this is me, the radio host. Like that gets exhausting to me. That got exhausting to me. So I wanted to find something that said like, this is to the best of my knowledge, this is who I am as a creative, like poetry, rapping, like making like indie folk music, Adam et al. And so the et al, it's also paying a little tribute to me as a professor of English, because there's like, the MLA, like when you're citing a source and there's like a bunch of people on the research, instead of writing everybody's name, you could just say et al. And in Latin, that means and everybody else. Yeah. And so when I say Adam et al., it's like, it's me and all the other me's.
All the other personas.
All the other personas involved. And not just that, but like the ancestors, my wife, like anybody that contributes to who I am, that's what it is.
Cool, man. So was there ever like a Fame Kill persona that you put on that you now have to not even through the music, like even in public you were Fame Kills? Did that happen?
Oh, for sure. Like just like I mean I used to rock like the cross earring like early on. Like,
yeah.
I see like a lot of my students rock it now. I'm like, oh, I used to rock that too. But like just little things that I assumed people like expected of me. You know what I mean? Not that I didn't want to do them, but just kind of like, you know, I'm putting on a performative aspect of it that people seem to be drawn to when I perform this way, or like wear these certain, like maybe a leather jacket. I used to bring my Mexican flag bandana around a lot.
Oh, okay.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't feel like I had to do it, but I felt like I had to shed that in order to distance myself from fame.
Yeah. So now the persona that you put on is just as authentic as you as can be.
That's what I'm trying. It's still new to be out here like promoting my creative work as Adam et al.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been very like in the house on the FaceTime, so it's a little easier to just like not have to
put on that thing.
Put on that thing. But yeah, just even as I get older, you know, it's kind of like a twofold thing. It's like, yeah, I want to be as authentic as I can be just as an artist in connection to who I am as a person, but also just as a person. Like, I'm tired of like living up to people's expectations or things like that. Like at work, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we'll see how that goes when I go back to campus. Because I've been teaching from online this whole time. So like I could probably button this shirt up and have some sweats on and people wouldn't know. But like, you know, like just trying to be more, just trying to be more in line with like
who you really are.
Who I assume to be in my mind, or who I hope to be.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about that too. Like once you said the whole radio hosting, like I put on a persona to start recording, and then when I turn off the mic, I'm a different person. Like, how do I be both? You know, how do I be the same guy all the time? I can't. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's a different thing.
It is, and if you think about it too much, I feel like you kind of go a little. So sometimes you just gotta be in the moment, but.
Well, speaking of all the work that you've done as Adam et al. This year, I know like even the collection of poetry, you said you wrote over a long period of time. So now when you perform like a reading of it, or even like one of the songs from the EP, do you still feel those emotions exactly as you were when you wrote them?
No. Maybe the music more because it's fresher. But like this collection, I feel like I keep going. This collection, like I wrote this almost 10 years ago. I'm like, and like I said, there's so much emotional weight to it. Like, dude, after I wrote this and defended it in college, like I went into like crazy depression and anxiety. Like there was a night where, there was like a point in time where there was like 2 days where I couldn't sleep and like. And I really feel like it was a psychic response to like letting this stuff out on the page that I'd never done before. And so to be like almost 10 years out from that and to be in a much better place mentally, like I have distance from it to where like I can appreciate it from like the technical component of it and just the way the words sound and stuff like that. Where with this new EP, like I wrote some of it from like 2015 to now, and I've never had a chance to perform it up until this year. So that's still kind of fresh and new. Like with this stuff, I had like recorded an audiobook version of it. I had performed it here and there. So I've been with it a little longer to where like it's not a I don't want it to seem like I don't care about it. You know,
but there's some distance from it where you can just, you don't have to revisit it every time. Cool, man. Did therapy help you process any of these emotions?
Absolutely. And I feel like I found myself talking about therapy more in the music now. Like I really think that this book led me to therapy. Cause like I was like, oh, this shit. There's a lot of stuff that I've been just ignoring for a really long time, and now all of a sudden I can't ignore it anymore. What am I gonna do? And so the first thing I did when I got my first full-time job after college I got insurance. I'm like, I'm gonna go to therapy.
Yeah.
So I went to therapy. That one didn't work out. Like, yeah, it just wasn't a good fit.
I mean, it happens with, you gotta go to different places.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. So I love my therapist right now. Shout out to my therapist. I just saw her this morning.
So what was the process of creating the new collection of songs? Where were you when I was trying to function? Just to get the plug out there, people can listen to that now. So you said from 2015 to now. Yeah. What made you decide to finally drop it?
Well, I think once I made the leap, like, all right, I'm gonna for sure change the name. Like, I'm doing it. I made a website, www.adametal.soy. That I think the reason that I did that was like, if I do this, I know I'm investing in it. Like, I have to pay for the website, I got to pay for the domain name. Like, that's going to force me to actually like do stuff with this. So once I did that, I said, okay, the next goal is let's put out some music as Adam et al. By the end of the year, we got to put something out. And I've been writing stuff for like other projects, but there was these 5 songs that I had been writing during like the Fame times, you know, and they never quite fit with what I was doing with Fame. And I had been falling out of love with Fame for a while, probably around 2015-ish. And so when I listened to them together, they somehow they made sense, even though they're different genres. I was working with Cash Only to like produce them and engineer them, so they all had this same kind of tone, regardless. And there was like this theme of just kind of like, it was kind of like the end point of Fame Kills. Like, it was, I feel like the overarching theme of this collection is like being directionless at the tail end of your 20s, which that's kind of frightening. Yep. Because
I feel that.
Being directionless in the mid or like early, it's like, I got time to figure it out. Yeah. But once it's like, oh, I'm approaching 30, even though 30 is not that old, you know, I'm 35 now. Even though it's not that old, it's still kind of like, oh man, I'm seeing some of my friends do a lot of things, like growth in their life, and like, where am I going with this? And like, so that's why I decided to put all the, I don't want to say clump them all together, but I think that I think I was writing this project without realizing it. You know what I'm saying?
Just the way you were experiencing your life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, I really like the track. I really like the resolution of it, where you're the last track. But what's your favorite track? Do you have a favorite track?
My favorite track is called LLL. It's the 4th track. That's one of my favorite songs I've ever written, like ever. Yeah. I love it. I think like I approach the idea of like love, like romantic love, in a very like, I don't know, a more genuine way than I ever did with Fame. Because like a lot of that stuff, well, obviously it's about my wife, but she wasn't my wife yet. It was the beginnings, and after having both been in love before, like both of us had been in love before, I feel like, I mean, I can only speak to my experience, but it's kind of scary, like jumping into a new love, like, because you've already experienced a particular kind of heartbreak, you know? Yeah. And that's always a lingering possibility.
But it's a different feeling though, right? When you get, it's like, oh, this is what I was waiting for. Yeah. When you get to the whole person you want to marry situation. Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about my marriage. No, you had to be thinking about it. Yeah. But it is scary, right? You break up with people and you're like, oh, I thought I was going to be with that person for like the rest of my life, and it didn't work out. And then you're like, well, what am I? And then you find that person, and then it's a whole different feeling. And you're like, oh, this is what I was waiting for. This is what it feels like. I don't have to second guess any of this.
And I think that's also scary.
Yeah.
That's also scary. Yeah.
That attachment to that person. You're like, well, what if they don't feel the same way back? Oh man. Well, what about was the hardest track to make off it?
It actually might be that song. Yeah. It's probably one of the non-rap songs. There's only 2 non-rap songs on there, I would say, and those were both harder just because I was singing, and I wouldn't say I'm the best singer. I'm not the worst singer. I'm not like what's the name? JJ Icefish. Remember that?
Yeah, JJ Fish.
JJ. No disrespect to JJ Fish.
Damn.
No, but like Cash Only would really push me. Like Cash Only was like, "You're gonna sing this. Like, yeah, we might throw some vocoder on it, but you're gonna be hitting all those notes." So I would do a take, and then he would find the note that I was actually trying to hit and plot that out, and then he would play that for me in my headphones, and I would sing to that. So I was actually hitting everything.
Yeah.
And like, so that was stressful, but I feel like it made me grow a lot as an artist. Like that was the first time that I was doing drills, like warming up drills and stuff like that. And so I think that was probably the hardest, just getting out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. I think it pushed you to take your music, the next project, even further now, because you've already taken that step of singing like that, right? Damn. Well, the last time you were on the show, the FaceTime interview, you talked about a hip-hop summit that was happening that they invited you to perform at. How's that going? Yeah.
So the Chafee Hip-Hop Summit, Hip-Hop Studies Summit, I am part of the committee that presents that. We're about to be in our third year at Chafee. Obviously last year we had to do it virtual. This year we got to do it virtual again. But what it is essentially we are trying to bridge the gap between hip hop and academia, and that's already happening, you know, but not as much as I believe that it should be. You know, I feel like hip hop needs to it warrants study and understanding, and it deserves that respect on its name. You know, like there's history of rock and roll classes at every freaking school. And there needs to be that for hip hop, you know, everywhere. And so it's really about providing a space for our students and faculty and staff who consider themselves part of hip hop culture for whatever reason, to have a space to say like, yeah, I am these things together, and like, let's celebrate that. Yeah. And so it's a 3-day event. We have like workshops. We usually have a dance workshop, a graffiti art workshop, and a poetry workshop. And then we work with faculty, and we also work with like local artists to come and like teach the class, to teach the workshops, and to present their art in exhibition and stuff like that. This year, we're actually doing a call for submissions. So any like visual artists, graphic artists out there, the call to submissions is open. I forget the website link, but we'll post it. Yeah, I'll get that to you. It's open until January 12th. Okay. And so Professor John Jennings, he is a comic artist and like this brilliant dude. He teaches at UCR, but he does a lot of comic book work. He's going to be judging it. And so we're accepting calls from everywhere. If you have hip hop informed visual art, please submit it. I'm going to send you the link, and we're going to see if anyone wants to participate in that. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we know a lot of visual artists, so I'm sure we'll get some people. Dope. So something that you said something that piqued my interest, which is people that consider themselves part of the culture, right? So I want to ask you, as somebody that is, of Latin roots, how do we appreciate the culture while being a part of it and knowing our place? How do you balance that yourself? Dude, it's a loaded question, but I think about that too. No, I think about it more and more and more and more, and I think we should be. Yeah. I think we got to be metacognitive just as people, but especially being in a space that is for you, but it's also not created by you necessarily. Yeah. And like the way that I personally not deal with that, but like navigate that is like just to always make people aware of like my influences. Like these are black men and women, and even then I got to check myself. Like my wife checks me all the time. We'll be listening to music, and like if I'm listening to hip hop, it tends to be a lot of men, and she's like, well, how come you're not showing me like female MCs, women who rap.
Yeah.
And so she goes and seeks it out herself, and then she shows me stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like always, whatever chance I get, like making people aware that, you know, this is a Black thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful to have that seat at the table, but not to abuse that seat.
Yeah.
You know, I think it could be easy to abuse that seat. I think maybe even when I was a lot younger, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I used to say the N-word, like not the hard ER, but like in high school, like around my Black friends, and they would call me that, and like I saw that as an invitation.
Yeah.
And you know, now when I hear, sometimes that conversation comes up in my classes with my Latinx students, and you know, they're like, yeah, I say it like because I grew up around Black people, blah blah blah, and I try and, you know, navigate them away from that. That, you know, let's think about that. Let's think about your positionality to that. And just I think more and more about the anti-Blackness that is in our own community as Latinx people, and that's like, you know, the colorism, all of that stuff. It's
just like there's so much of it instilled in our culture that we needed to work on.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this before you got here about, you know, the past and how like you said, like in high school you said it, and you know, even probably back in the day we used to use slurs like casually because we thought it was like fun. And I think it's just about how we move forward. Like now that we know, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to pass on to our kids? It's like, hopefully they don't ever have to say it, or they don't ever, because they know from us that they shouldn't even said it in the first place, you know?
Yeah.
And that's all we can do is just be better going forward. We can't fix the past.
True.
Yeah. Well, man, I wanted to ask you so many things, but before we get to the 60 seconds with, who are some of the people in your area? Because I haven't heard in your area that are making music that are inspiring you to continue doing it. Yeah.
Cam Gnarly's always.
Yeah.
He's always putting in work. He's got a dope event coming up in I think sometime in the next week or two, all the way through mid-January. He's doing this really cool thing where he's turning the EP that he put out this year into like an art exhibit at a little art space in San Bernardino, because he's from Dino too.
Yeah.
And so I know that means a lot to him to be able to do that in his hometown. I'm definitely looking forward to look at that. So Cam Gnarly. It's not even just rappers. Like I get inspired by Mellow Hearts, just like seeing the process from behind the scenes, and then seeing the shows, and I get inspired by them. Who else? The homie Cassius Green.
Yeah.
Out of like Mobile Riverside. He's just always like, I've known that dude pretty much since I've been in the IE scene.
Yeah.
And just to see him still doing it and like still seeing a lot of growth coming out of his music, that keeps me going too.
Yeah.
There's this thing in the back of my head, that age thing. I see the ageism kind of leaving hip hop, because you know, you got like Griselda, all those dudes blew up in their late 30s.
Yeah.
And that's dope. 2 Chainz is, you know, and of course Kanye and Jay, like it's
still
more
around.
accepted now, but there's always this little part of me saying like, hey man, maybe you should put the mic down. You're
getting a little too old for this.
But like I said, then I see folks like Cassius Green or like or Noah James, and they're still doing it and they're still loving it.
Yeah.
At least from the outside, that's what it looks like. That like there's real joy, and that's what I'm trying to chase. That I'm trying to have less expectations, because I think that was another thing with Fame. At the end, I was like, why isn't this hitting? Like, and I was getting caught up in like numbers and all that stuff. And I'm trying to get back to that space of joy that brought me to this in the first place.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my last question, is where do you see yourself going? Is it just trying to find that just joy?
Yeah, I'm just trying to chase that joy, and like just the fact that like you would invite me here to talk about my creativity. Like I'm grateful for that. I'm just trying to be a more grateful creative.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, thank you, man. Ever since I met you at that festival in Pomona, man, you've been just continued success.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna hear some of the tracks off. Where were you? When I was Where Were You When I Was Trying to Function? Sorry. The EP. But before we do that, we have a segment called 60 Seconds With, and this is your first time doing it. Right?
Whew, I'm sweating already.
All right. This is as many questions as we can get in the 60 seconds. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Favorite cartoon character?
Doug.
Favorite song right now?
Lemon Pepper Freestyle.
One word to describe you when you were a kid.
Shy.
Do you have a hidden talent? Oh, there you go. Netflix, Hulu, or HBO?
Hulu.
Name of your best friend in high school.
Richard.
First CD you ever bought.
Space Jam soundtrack or Cats the musical.
First song you illegally downloaded.
Juicy, Biggie.
Hey, favorite movie of all time.
Favorite movie of all time? Oh, that's a tough one, man. I can't do that one.
All right. Jim Carrey or Will Ferrell?
Jim Carrey.
Dave Chappelle or Eddie Murphy?
Dave Chappelle.
Rappin' Drake or R&B Drake?
Rapping Drake.
Favorite non-hip-hop genre?
Hyperpop.
Spotify, Apple Music, or Tidal?
Spotify.
And your favorite thing about music?
The Joy.
And that was 60 seconds with Adam and Tal. Thank you so much for doing that. Which songs do you want us to play right now from the project?
Oh, man. We definitely got to hear LLL.
Mm-hmm.
And just to give some variety of rap, let's go with the first track, Past Life Head First.
Okay. And then one more. You could do three.
Oh,
yeah, we could do three.
We could do three. Let's do, well, you talked about Exist and how that was a nice ending. So let's do Somewhere I Can Exist.
All right. This is Adam Metal, and the project is Where Were You When I Was Trying to Function? It's on all streaming sites. Thank you for coming out here, man.
Thank you, man. Always a pleasure.
Of course. All right, let's get into it on The Rodriguez Show. Let's do it, Mondo.